Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ثم السلام على آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم الأجمعين إلى يوم الدين صلوات الله على محمد. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. صدق الله العظيم. صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now we've been looking at Surah Yasin, which is known as Qalbul Quran, the heart of the Quran. It's Surah number 36. There are 114 surah in the Quran. 86 are Makki, 28 are Madani. The dividing line between them is Hijrah. So anything that was revealed before Hijrah, whether it was revealed in Makkah or wherever it was, is called Makki. Anything after Hijrah is known as Madani. Makki surahs talk about the why of religion, and Madani talk about the how of religion. Now, this is a Makki surah. So I know immediately that I hear Makki. And if you read your Qur'ans, you will find right at the top, before every surah, it says Makki or Madani. So this says it's a Makki surah, so immediately I know it is talking about usul. The focus of this surah are three. One is usul, two is Habib al-Najjar, and three is reflection on creation. So we've got 7 sections here. The first section was the mandate of the Prophet, and we saw that. The second section was looking behind. We looked at ayah 9 yesterday, which says we have placed a wall behind them and in front of them, and we've covered their eyes. The wall behind us is history, and we looked at Habib al-Najjar. To be able to be a community that moves, that runs like Habib, we have to look at what history does, because history will always repeat itself in its basics. Okay, we will go forward with AI, and today I heard about ASI and AGI and whatever it is. We will go forward, but at the end of the day, our basics will always be in the past. Yesterday we looked at looking forward, which is looking at nature, which is right in front of us. And I started off with Asma al-Husna, and hopefully all of you have got one of these bookmarks. I mentioned a lot about these Asma al-Husna, and I said that with Asma al-Husna, it's sad that the screen is not working, but you've got the little screens there. And I'll go over very quickly over how you should approach Asma al-Husna. And I'll do a little bit of revision. We said, Ya Rahman, in fact, sorry, we've got some PDFs, or we've got a paper which we'll have as a PDF, and if you go to the desk somewhere, they'll give you a QR code that you can be part of a group of updates where you will get these updates if you want an actual copy. So the moment you say Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rauf, you remember the 3 R's? You would immediately say, have mercy on myself when I can't find it myself. Sometimes I can't be kind to myself, okay? We talked about Ya Malik, Ya Qudus, everything is in your hands. Purify what is in mine, Ya Salam, Ya Mu'min. I went through these, but I'll go through them very quickly. Grant me the peace no person in fear can take away. Ya Jabbar, Ya Mutaqabbir. Jabbar was mend me. Mend my heart, mend that which people can't see. And Mutaqabbir is keep my ego small. Ya Khalik, Ya Bari, Ya Musawwir. I told you yesterday it was the architect, the builder, and the decorator. You made me exactly as you willed. Help me stop wishing I was made differently, or things were different with me. They're not different. You are who you are, and you're awesome. Ya Ghaffar, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Tawwab, Ya Ra'uf. We talked about that again and again and again. Forgive me every time, and don't just forgive my sins. Erase them. Make me or accept my return to you. Ya Qahar, Ya Wahhab. Qahar means somebody who subdues. Subdues that desire that takes me away from you. And Wahhab, give me my dreams. And we stopped at Ya Razzaq, which was provide from me from the least place where I expect. Now, we don't know Muqit, because there are some words we're a bit stuck with. Muqit comes from the Arabic word qut. Qut means that which is necessary, just my need. Needs are different. Want is different, need is different. So Muqit is manage my needs. Sometimes I think I need, but let me know what is a need and what is a want. Mughni and ghani, you all know, enrich me. Not enrich me just with pound signs, but enrich me with peace. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innal qulub. You all know that. Okay. Ya Fatah, open every door. Open the door that is closed, and open my heart as well. Ya Alim, Ya Khabir, Ya Muhsi. I won't go into each one, but you've got them all there. You know what I need before I ask. You see what nobody else sees. Alim, we saw that yesterday in Surah Yasin. It's basically you know everything. You know me. I don't have to explain anything. When I explain things, I have to explain them to myself. I love Qabid and Basit. Qabid means to expand, or rather, Qabid means to constrict, and Basit means to expand. So when you constrict, let me know. When things are hard, help me trust you. And when there's a lot, when I get a lot, you know, in Gujarati we say chappar fari ne mailu. So when you get that, don't forget don't let me forget it's from you. Ya Khafid, Ya Rafi, lift me in your sight. That's the only elevation that I want to have. Ya Mu'iz, Ya Mudhil goes with Aziz, which means honor me with closeness to you. And I'm going through each of these just so you know. Ya Sami, Ya Basir, you hear and you know what I'm saying. Ya Hakam and Ya Adil. I'm not going to go into each one, but this is the gist of how you will use Asma al-Husna. You have the bookmarks in front of you like that. And like I said, if you know the 99, this is a hadith of the Prophet, it is mutawatir, it is a hadith of the Prophet. If you know this hadith which says, one who knows 99 names will definitely be Ahlul Jannah. So with every name, they're 99, right? Think about it, 99 weeks, do one a week. Theoethics, psychoethics, socioethics. First know what it means. That's why I picked Muqit, because Muqit is the one most people sort of think, Muqsit, Muqit, what is she talking about? But Muqit is the name of Allah. And you should know Qut. For example, you know Adim, right? Do you know Adim? Allah is Adim. Where do you read Adim? Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamdi, every day in Salah. Adam is a bone. Adam is a bone. When you say Adim, you are saying you are so awesome that you provide me the structure for me to be able to bend down as well in ruku. And these are the little things that we need to understand with each of these names. So say 99 weeks, You've learned your theoethics. You've learned your psychoethics. Psychoethics is how you internalize it. And socioethics is then how do you manifest it. Because the Prophet said, تَخَلُّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ. Adopt in yourself the akhlaq of Allah. You can't do it unless you know the 99 names. And I think, and I hope, and I pray that all of us, by next Muharram at least, we've got about a year, right? We would know the 99 names, and hopefully, Amina, who is sitting here, will make us recite them before every majlis, the 99 names. Like she makes us stand and say, Allahumma kulli walika hujjat ibn al-Hasan. It doesn't take long. It takes 2 minutes. So please, I know there's a beautiful nasheed out there. Listen to it again and again and again. There is a lullaby as well. Whatever you want, as long as you know the 99. And I will repeat again. Jannah without Stanmore is going to be extremely lonely for any one of us. So please, don't go on your own, okay? All right. Can we have a salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa atil faraja. So today we're going to look at section 4. If you've got a book, it's page 24. I said there were 7 sections. The first section was the mandate of the Prophet, and we looked at that. The second section was historical. It talked about Antakya and Habib ibn Najjar. And the third section talked on reflection on creation, and that's why we did Asma al-Husna. So wherever you look, you will remember Allah. If you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which I probably do and you do as well before you start everything. So say, for example, I was taking some medicine. I will say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, but I will replace the ism with Ash-Shafi. Say I wanted to go down to the basement where there are jinns, right? I want some strength. So in that ism, I will say, Ya Qawi, give me strength. If I'm talking to someone and I think, oh God, this is so hard, this conversation is so difficult, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and the ism will be praised with Ya Sabur, give me sabr. This is how you say Bismillah. I start in the name of which name? Okay, so inshallah, when we look around us, everything will come into place. Right, so we're going to look at section 4, which is ayah 45 to 50. And this actually talks, this whole section talks about what we should not do. And then we will look at what we should do. So basically, it's tick boxes. You've got crosses and you've got ticks. So the crosses are about 5 versus 11 ticks. And the 11 ticks we will look at are from Surah Al-Furqan. So let's first look at what you shouldn't be doing, or what you and I should not be doing. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّقُوا مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَمَا خَلْفَكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. When it is said to them, be conscious of what is in front of you and what is behind you. So in other words, look at history. And if you look at your own history, if I look at my own history, being conscious of it means being able to do istighfar. What did Habib ibn Najjar do when he was told to go to Jannah? Kilat kulil Jannah. Qala ya qawmi. What did he want them to know? Bima ghafara li rabbi wa ja'alani minal mukramin. The maghfirat, the istighfar that I continually do is what I have done in the past. So here you're told, be conscious, reflect on your past, look at its consequences and do istighfar. Then it says, and then what is in front of you? And what is in front of us is my future. So am I going to read the Asma al-Husna? Am I going to be takhalluku bi akhlaqillah? So that when people look at me, they say, she or he is Allahi. Now I mentioned this in one of the I don't think it was here, I think it was somewhere else, when I said, I've got some time. I like stories because you will remember stories, right? My father died when I was 10. When I was about 6 years old, and I still remember it, there were tropical rains. Did you hear the rain yesterday? Goodness. And the thunder and the lightning. And you thought you were in East Africa. That was how bad it was. So you can imagine those tropical rains kept on for days. And the graveyards in Moshi and Arusha were both, they all went down in the sense that the graves had opened up. So my father was one of those people who went to Arusha to sort out these, to help to do the graves. Now when he came back, he just sat. He didn't want to talk to anyone. He just sat down. Now, I don't know whether it's a man thing. Women want to talk, men want to keep quiet. I'm not sure. Maybe your men talk more. I have no idea, okay? But This father of mine just sat. After a little while, he thawed out a bit, and we said, what happened? He said, I was given a grave to do. And when I opened it, because he had to take out the earth and re-put more earth in, he said the man who had died 5 or 10 years ago was like Hur. He just lay there as though he was sleeping. It was as though somebody had just put him there today. And he said, I couldn't understand. This particular person was the person who was a caretaker of the mosque in Arusha. He used to fill we didn't have these douches. You had these little cans. You know them, don't you? So he used to fill people's cans. He used to put everybody's shoes properly. And he used to wear clothes. For example, his trousers were always short because he said, I don't want them to get najis. He never tucked his shirt into his trousers. He let it loose because the Prophet said that's how it's mustahab to pray like that, right? And people used to say, Hito sao alai. You know what alai means? Like he's not suited, booted. And Cupid, nobody would marry him, right? Really alai. And my father that day told me, and I still remember it, he said he wasn't alai, he was Allahi, right? So if you can just imagine, he was one person that you look at and you think, I don't want to aspire to be like him, but yes, you do. Because he was Allahi when he was put into the grave, even after many years, it was as though he had been rested. His kafan was still white. Okay? So have a think about, I'm not saying don't have aspirations. I would definitely be doctors and dentists and engineers and do whatever you want, but balance the life up. Okay. So now these people, they don't do that. They don't think of istighfar, they don't think about their future. وَمَا تَعْتِيهِم مِّنْ آيَةٍ مِّنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ إِلَّا كَانُوا عَنْهَا مُعْرِضِينَ. Arada means to turn away. You give them sign upon sign upon sign. They will still turn away. Look at the Quran. Will they look at it? No. They will still leave it on top of their shelf. Will they look? Asma al-Husna 99. I am picking on things like that. Their salah, will they recite what they're reciting? Do they want to know what it means? No, they just turn away. Now this is talking about the negative aspects of these people. Then it says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ أَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ. When it is told to them, spend out of what Allah has given you. We just heard a phenomenal talk about water and how water is important. قَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Those who cover up the truth tell those who believe. Look what they say. They say, if Allah wished, لو يشاء الله أتما إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين. Why should we give water? Why should we give food? If Allah wanted, He would give them. Is He not Razak? You just told me in Asma al-Husna He is Razak. You just said He is Muqit. He provides needs. You just said He is Wahhab. He provides people's dreams. Why should I do it? He will do it. Well, we have not understood that He does it through us. And when we don't fulfill that, even if it's switching off, I mean, I saw water today. You saw it as well. Empty water bottle. Well, no, they weren't empty. 2 sips taken and the water was left. If nothing else, put it in the ground outside. Just do that. I had a child yesterday in the early classes. There are children who come in the early classes. There are lots of them. One day we had talked about Abu Thamama. Abu Thamama was like Abbas. He went to get water. When he got water and he put the water bag, all the children jumped on it. The top came off and the water went into the sand and it was all gone because they jumped on it, right? That was water. And this little child came up to me yesterday and he said, I want to be like Abu Thamama, but I don't want people to jump on my water bag. That's what a child does. I want them to drink out of it. Imam Hussein raised his hands and he said, may Allah bless you for you thought about something like that, okay? So even if it's a tiny little bit, it doesn't really matter. So here it says, these people say, God will do it. There's a wonderful story about Prophet Musa. His people, Bani Israel, told him, Ya Musa, we want to invite God for dinner. Want God to come for dinner? Musa goes up the mountain and says, Ya Allah, they want to invite you for dinner. He said, I'll come. Musa goes down and says, God's going to come for dinner. What time? Exactly 8 o'clock. I don't know. You know, Stanmore has a time. You go over the time, they show you one of those. Okay? So like that, they had a time for dinner. And people were cooking. And this old man came. And he said, I'm so hungry. And they said, God's coming for dinner. Wait. 8 wage, you want dinner? You'll get it at 8 o'clock. Okay? Must have met Khojas like me. Yeah? 8 o'clock, you're going to get dinner. You're not going to get it before. He went away. 8 o'clock came, no God. 8:39, no God. They went to Musa and they said, where's God? He went back up the mountain and said, Ya Allah, you promised to come. He said, I came. You didn't feed me. So when somebody comes with a need, there is something. In Gujarati we say, "Fool ne to fool ni bankri." Even a little bit, tiny bit, give. And these people say, no, Allah will give. Okay. وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. The other thing they say, okay, so their fourth thing is, they say, you're saying we're accountable. What is accountability? When will it happen? So they're actually challenging. They don't believe they will be accountable. They don't believe that your thoughts can be heard. They don't believe that you will visually see how you thought, that intentions and actions matter. So that's another negative aspect. مَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَّا صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً تَأْخُذُهُمْ وَهُمْ يَخِصِّمُونَ. One shout and it's going to be dead. It's going to be death. All of us are going to die. That's why we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Nobody is going to be spared. We're all going to see death. So he's saying there's one life, one shot at life. Death is going to come. فَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ تَوْصِيَةً وَإِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. They won't have a chance to do a wasiyah. And they won't have a chance to come back, even if they're plead. Now, so these people, in other words, not only do they not believe in accountability, they don't think they're ever going to die. So if I were you and I went home today, write a will. Because the Prophet said he or she is not one of us who doesn't sleep with a will under his or her pillow. You don't have to put it under your pillow, but somewhere where people will find it. In your cupboard, have your kafan hanging as well. Iron it every day. On the day of Ashura, bring a little bit. It will bear witness that I cried for Hussein. Not any angel will touch you if there's a tear of Hussein on it. Nobody will touch you. They can't. Because that is the azmat of Hussein. So bring it with you. Bring a little bit. Tiny bit of your kafan. If you don't have a kafan, take a handkerchief. But make sure in your wasiyah, your children know, or your parents know, or your friends know, or whoever knows that this is what you want to be buried with you. Okay. So these are people who are negative. Now let's see these beautiful people. Surah Al-Furqan, ayah 63 to 77. Okay? If you've got a Quran with you, you don't have it, it's not in this book. But if you don't have a Quran with you, or you have your phones with you, you will have Surah Al-Furqan in it. Now let's see, 11 things. These are tick boxes. You saw what we don't do. And you know, when you look around, you know you don't do these things. What Yasin says, we don't do them. We're not part of this. So now let's see what we're supposed to do. And he calls them Ibadur Rahman. That means he says those who are attached to the Rahman. He says, الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. It's beautiful. Their whole life is dominated by humility. You know, when I was little, my grandmother wouldn't allow us to wear heels. Because if you went tuck, tuck, tuck on the floor, she would say, this earth is going to complain that you strutted on it. So we would wear trainers and then close the door and then wear heels. Can you imagine what we did, right? Can you imagine at your wedding you're told no heels? All right, my daughter wore trainers, but I wanted to wear heels, but not in front of my grandma. I didn't realize God was watching when I changed, okay? So here we go. He's saying they walk with humility. And when they are subjected, when they meet people who are jahil, now jahil will say ignorant, it's not ignorant. It's people who allow their emotions to take over. They know people are getting angry. They just say salam. I remember being in New York in a taxi, in one of these yellow taxis. Have you seen them? They're beautiful. So I went into this yellow taxi, and it was a Pakistani driver. He was so lovely. But as he was driving, because he was driving carefully and there was so many other people, they were shouting at him and saying, you Paki, go home. You've heard that, haven't you? All those sentences were happening to him. He was so calm, he was smiling at them. And I'm thinking, why are you grinning? I'm getting so worked up. He said, haven't you read Quran? And I'm thinking, oh, astaghfirullah. Yeah, sometimes. And he said, haven't you read Quran? I'm supposed to smile at them. I'm not supposed to be subject to their jahiliyat. And that is jahiliyat. You know, people get emotional. Have you seen them on Ashura, or have you seen them in the mosque in Muharram? Oh my goodness. If they can't find their shoes, we got issues. Calm down. It's okay. It's all right. That's what they say. They're really calm, and they make other people calm too. وَالَّذِينَ يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا. How do they spend their nights? Talking to their Rabb. Now it says they do sijda and they stand. If you can't do sijda and you stand, every time your eyes open, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka. Oh, come on. Ya ala Yasin. And the last one, Assalamu alayka ya Imam Zamana ajjalallahu faraja. Now the instinct is to reach out to the mobile phone. Who texted? What's new on Instagram? What's new on Facebook? For at least a week, don't first reach out there. Say your salams and then go. And then slowly, make sure you don't reach out to it for a little while, tiny while. And you see the difference it makes in your life. It has an amazing difference. وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ. Look what they say. They have such a powerful vision of akhirah. Because they say, وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا أَصْرِفْ عَنَّا عَذَابَ جَهَنَّمْ إِنَّ عَذَابَ كَانَ غَرَامًا. They say, keep the fire away from us. I remember as a child listening to, and maybe you have heard this hadith all the time. I'll try and, I'm looking at the clock as well because I want to talk about Hazrat Abbas. As a child, I remember one hadith that I will never forget. My grandmother used to tell me, and it is a hadith of the Prophet, if you talk about someone on the day of, and you talk about it as in gossip, not nice stuff. You're allowed to say nice stuff, right? Really nice stuff, just say as much as you want. But if you don't say any nice stuff, she told me that your tongue will become as long as where that person is. So can you imagine talking to somebody in the States? Now as a child, you remember that. And she said, those dogs of Jahannam will eat that. Now she scared me, but scared me in the right way. So if I wanted to talk about somebody in Australia, my first thought would be, oh God, no. Just keep quiet. Can you imagine how it would be? Even if you were just there, right in front of me, and I saw you. So that is what he's saying. There's such a powerful vision of akhirah. They don't do anything wrong. They say, إِنَّهَا سَاءَتْ مُسْتَقَرًّا وَمَقَامًا. It's a horrible place to do anything wrong. So they've got a powerful vision of akhirah. Now, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يَسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَفْطَرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ. They're very moderate in their shopping experience. That means when they shop, there's moderation. They're neither stingy, neither are they OTT. All right? So they're, in this sense, I've got to say this because she's asked me to say it today. She said that this woman called, and I get some amazing calls. She said that when she goes shopping and she comes back from food, her husband has to look at the receipt. And if he finds that she has shopped somewhere where the loaf of bread is 50 pence or 10 pence more, he really doesn't talk to her for the rest of the day. And he said, this is how my parents brought me up. Please don't bring your children up like that, okay? Quran says, these people, they're not that stingy, but then they don't waste either. Okay, so they don't leave bottles around. That's what they tell me. وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَدْعُونَ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا. Now it gives three things in the next ayah. They do not do shirk, they do not kill anyone, and they do not have unhealthy or illegal relationships. But if they do, if anything does happen, and hopefully you will not kill anyone, okay, and hopefully you will not, well, I guess to look at someone and say, that's cute. Hopefully you will not take it any further, okay? Because he says the adhab will be increased except for those, and it's beautiful, إِلَّا مَنْ تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ عَمَلًا. We all do things that are funky. We all do things. Maybe you look at television, maybe you look, whatever happens. Maybe you want George Clooney as your neighbor. You're not as old as me, right? So you want, I don't know who you want. Maybe you don't. But if you do that, he says, إِلَّا مَنْ تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ salihan. So you do tawbah, you go back to him, you recompense with something that was done that was good. فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ. And I love him. Allah will replace your evil with good. He says that here. يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ hasanat. You know, you can kill somebody's heart by saying something. You want to change that, go say sorry. And he will change all that was bad. He will make them your best friend. That's how it works, okay? وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا rahima. So he tells you, even if you do anything like that, make sure you recompense. Then he says, وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَشْهَدُونَ الزُّورَ. They don't witness falsehood. Somebody's making stories, they just don't witness it. And they move away with it with kirama, with honor. So if somebody's talking rubbish, okay, move away, go out. You don't have to stay there. Now remember, again, children's classes, and we're talking about gossip. Now they sit on the table, especially when we come to the mosque every day. So you sit on the table to eat and you say, oh, do you know what she did today? Oh my goodness me. Now, we're talking about to the children, and we said when you hear something like that, make sure you don't tell your mom and dad in front of everyone. You can't sit at the table and tell your mom, Mom, you're gossiping. You can't do that, because that's rude. Just get up, go away for a little while, and when she comes to find you and you're on your own, you can then tell her, this is uncomfortable for me. Oh, no, 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 that's not what children do. So this particular child went out, went into the kitchen. When mom said, you haven't finished your food, come back on the table. He said, no, I'm going to text you, because these days you text, right? So text mom and say, I think you're really bad, you're doing gossip. And you're going to go to Jahannam, and all the rest of it that he had at the classes. So when you talk to your children, talk to them properly. Not like these, but at least we don't do that. And this says they move away with honor, okay? وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ لَمْ يَخِرُّوا إِلَيْهَا سُمًّا وَعُمْيَانًا. And they're beautiful. They always pay attention to the words of Allah. In other words, at my age, I should know at least the focus of every surah. At least I should know, if an ayah was recited, that I know where it's from. If I said, Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna alan nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I know it's from Suratul Ahzab. I know it's ayah 56. It's the only thing that I do that God does. You and I do nothing that God does. Nothing. Even when you're mothers and you say you may create a child, you're not, because it is He who is the creator. Yes, what does He say? Inna Allaha, Allah, wa malaikatahu, and the malaika, yusalluna alan nabi. They send salawat on the Prophet. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. So I am doing what Allah does. And I should know where it is. So these people are very well aware of the Quran. They're actually here. Okay. And then they are family orientated. They love their families. وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا حَبْلَنَا. You can say it with me. مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِمَامًا. In your kunut, Rabbana, make them my qurrata ayn. Can I explain qurrata ayn? So when you have a rider, a desert rider, and he's on his camel, and imagine there's a sandstorm, a massive sandstorm. Now, if you know anything about camels, and you can search engine it, they've got wipers on their eyes. You know that? Now, the rider can cover his face, but he can't cover his eyes. The only thing he has to leave open is his eyes. And his eyes sting because sand gets into it. When he gets to an oasis and he gets to some shelter, he says, this is my qurrata ayn. That is the coolness of my eyes. So the only dua you and I should have is, Ya Allah, make my eyes, when I see them, it should be qurrata a'yun. I'll go a step further. This is my family. And we have to make this our family. To walk in here should be coolness of our eyes, not, oh my goodness, no, can't do that. So this ayah that we read, and it should be in every kunut. Rabbana, I'll go get it again. Rabbana hablana min azwajina wa dhurriyatina qurrata a'yun. That's all you need to do. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. We'll talk about that later, okay? So these people are family orientated. And finally, they are always engaged in dua. Sitting, standing, whatever, there is always dua coming out of their hearts, okay? And I know I'm going to have Gujarati a little bit less than normal today, but I'm told by my mas, and I did ask many of the permission of these people here, that they do understand my English because it's a little bit like that, okay? So inshallah Masahib in Gujarati, but I'd like to talk about Hazrat Abbas' phenomenal personality. Now, I know the Jamaat has started a beautiful campaign about Be a Habib, or the Habib campaign as such, which talks about Habib ibn Mazahir and Habib ibn Ajjar and Habib ibn Mazahir. But I'd like to ask you whose Abbas you are. Now, let's talk about Abbas first, okay? So let's start with Ummulbanin. So Ummulbanin's name is Fatima Kalbiya. Fatima Kalbiya marries Imam Ali for one reason, or he marries her for one reason. He wants a child that will assist Hussein, because he knows what's going to happen. So he goes to his brother Aqil, and we should have this. This is what a matchmaking committee does. He goes to his brother Aqil, who has a musalla. A musalla means an office. He has an office in Masjid al-Nabawi, and he's a genealogist as well. He says, I'm looking to marry someone who comes from a family which has bravery and righteousness. And Aqil says, you will have to go back. Can't find somebody yet. It'll take time. We have to research. And he finds a young lady called Fatima Kalbiya from the family of Kalbiya who has good genealogy. You know, I'm sorry to say this, but 90% of the time, young people come and say, I don't mind him, but I don't like his mother. And I always tell them, at my age, I tell them that you will give birth to a child who will be the absolute replica of his mother. And you will have to say, I love you very much. And that child not only will look like his mother, she will talk like his mother. And she will be 10 times more assertive than his mother. So if I were you, learn to love the mother, okay? You can't run away from her. She's the essence of who he is. What is this mother-in-law campaign we have? Aprawara, Amarawara, Alokawara, Samewara. It's all Aprawara. There's no Samewara, ne? For God's sakes, that daughter has come to your house. Anyway, that's another story altogether. Goes to Aqil, genealogy. So he marries her because of her genealogy. When she comes to the house of Ali, she says, don't call me Fatima. Stop calling me Fatima. Because when you call me Fatima, the children get upset because their mother was Fatima. So he said, I have an aspiration that you will have sons. So I will call you Ummulbanin, which means mother of sons. She has 4 sons, Abbas, Abdullah, Uthman, and Aun. And I will give you their names, ages. They were 34, 32, 30, and 28 in Karbala. Not very old at all. 2 daughters, Jumana and Umahani. These were the daughters of Ummulbanin. Okay. When Imam Ali is martyred, Hazrat Abbas is 14. I'll talk a little bit in Masahib, but I just wanted to give you little bits and pieces. When he wants to get married, his mother says, go to Hussein, don't come to me. And never call him Akhi. Never call him Akhi. Never call him my brother. You will always call him Mawla. You will always call him Mawla. Or you'll always call him Sayyidi. And he marries somebody called Lubaba. They have 3 sons. That is why it's called Abul Fadlil Abbas. There was Fadl, there were Qasim, killed in Karbala, and Ubaidullah. Ubaidullah was so young that he stayed with his grandma Ummulbanin in Medina. History is important. Hazrat Abbas had a horse. The horse was called Uqab. Now in my family, whenever there's a car, they call their cars names. I don't know whether you call your cars names. Uqab's got to be pretty fast. If you've got a sports car, fair enough. Otherwise, you'll have to find something that's like a turtle. So Uqab was fast. Uqab was actually called, it was gifted to Rasulullah by the king of Yemen. And then you find through Abdul Muttalib, it was called Murtajiz. And it's good to know because you'll be able to name your cars that. And it comes from Rijz, which is thunder and lightning. And I believe, and that's my belief, that the thunder and lightning you saw yesterday reminded you of the horse of Hazrat Abbas. So now what you're going to remember? Murtajiz, Rijz, and what was his name? Uqab. So you want to be Uqab as well. You and I want to be Uqab. You want to run fast as well. Okay? Like my ma said right in the beginning, Tanikya baguche marima. And I said, Apre jannat baguche. Okay? Don't have to use your feet. You can use your soul as well. So these are some of the things that of Hazrat Abbas that you need to know. I'm going to swap to Gujarati and I'll try and make it as simple as possible so we understand it. Can I have a salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj. Hazrat Abbasની જ્યારે આંખ ખુલે છે ત્યારે પહેલાં એ જોઈ છે ઇમામ હુસૈનને. જ્યારે આંખ બંધ થાય છે ત્યારે એ જોઈ છે ઇમામ હુસૈનને. કદાચ આ મજલિસમાં ખાલી એની જ વાત કરવાની જરૂર હતી. પણ સૌથી મોટી વસ્તુ છે એક માસૂમ એને કહે છે, એ જ્યારે કહે છે ને મને પાણી લેવા જવું છે, યાને રજા નથી મળતી જાવા જંગ કરવા. હાલાંકि આખી જિંદગી એની પ્રેક્ટિસ હતી જંગ માટે, પણ એને કહેવાય છે બસ પાણી લેવા જવું છે. તો ઇમામ એને કહે છે ઇરકબ બિનફસી યા આખી. હવે બચપનથી આ સાંભળું છું, ઇરકબ બિનફસી યા આખી, યાને તું જા આ ઘોડા ઉપર મારું નફ્સ લઈને. એ મારો ભાઈ કોણ બોલાવે છે? ઇમામ હુસૈન. હું હંમેશા વિચાર કરતી હતી કે આ ને પડતી હતી દરરોજ, નાનપણથી પડવામાં આવે છે તો યાદ હતું. જ્યારે મારો દીકરો કરબલા જાય છે તો એક દિવસ ફોન કરે છે કરબલાથી, મને કહે મમ્મા ઝરી ઉપર લખેલું છે ઇરકબ બિનફસી યા આખી. તો કોઈ દિવસ જો તમને ખપતું હોય સલામતી, આસાની, ઇમામના વર્ડ જાણવું હોય, હઝરત અબ્બાસને મેં દરરોજ યાદ કરે છે. જ્યારે અલમ જોએ ત્યારે અટકી જાય છે. નાનપણથી અલમ જ્યારે જોતી હતી ત્યારે થતું તો ખબર ને આલમમાં કંઈક છે. આજે જો ડેસ્ક ઉપર બેસવું, લખવા કે કરવા કાંઈ, તો સામે અલમ ના હોય તો શાંતિ ના. ને જો તમને અલમ ખપતું હોય મને કહેશે મને લોસ પડશે, પણ કનીઝ છે, પછી રઝિયા દાતુ છે, પછી સાબેરા રામજી છે, આખાને ખીચો તમને અલમ બનાવી દેશે, એવું ફાઇન અલમ બનાવી દેશે. ને ઘરે રાખવાનું, અલમના સામે કામ કરવાનું. તમે જોઈ કેટલું ફરક પડશે, કારણ કે આ અબ્બાસનું અલમ છે. જ્યારે અમે હુસૈન બોલે તો સાથે અબ્બાસ સાથે બોલે. તમે ગયા છો કરબલા નહીં જાય તો ઇન્શાલ્લાહ નસીબ કરશે અલ્લાહ આપણને કરબલા જવા. તો એક જગા છે જેને કહેવાય છે બૈનલ હરમૈન, યાને ઇમામ હુસૈન ને હઝરત અબ્બાસના હરમના વચમાં એક રસ્તો છે. ખબર તમે ગયા છો નહીં ગયા, ઇન્શાલ્લાહ ખુદા નસીબ કરશે. પણ જ્યારે જાય તો કોઈક ફેરે થાય પહેલાં ક્યાં જાઓ? પહેલાં અબ્દ પાસે જાઓ કે પહેલાં માસ્ટર પાસે જાઓ? પહેલાં હુસૈન પાસે જાઓ કે પહેલાં અબ્બાસ પાસે જાઓ? હુસૈન બોલવું તો અબ્બાસ આવે, અબ્બાસ બોલવું તો હુસૈન આવે. દે આર લિંક્ડ ટુગેધર. હવે અબ્બાસ કોણ? હાફિઝ કુરાન, એક યાને ફકી હતા, યાને હી વોઝ અ સ્કોલર. એને કહેવાતું હતું કે ઇમામ સાદિક એને બોલાય છે નાફિઝુલ બસીર, યાને એની પરસેપ્શન એને અંદરથી દેખાતું હતું, દિલથી દેખાતું હતું. એક અજીબ ઇન્સાન હામિલ લીવા, જે ફ્લેગ એને ઇમામ હુસૈનનું ફ્લેગ ઉપાડતા હતા. એને કહેવાય છે રજુલુન જમીલ કલ જબલુલ અદીમ વ કલ્બુહુ કતૌદિલ જસીમ. આ ઇમામ સાદિક છે. એ કહે છે એક અમેઝિંગલી હેન્ડસમ હ્યુમન બિંગ. એને જોઈ તો એક માઉન્ટેનમાં ફક, યાને અમને થાય અમે એના જ પાસે જાય, એ અમારી ધ્યાન રાખશે. સો જિંદગીમાં જ્યારે હું કહું કોનું અબ્બાસ તમે છો, તો જેના પાસે આપણે જઈ શકીએ દુઃખથી એને કહેવાય અબ્બાસ. હું તમને એક એક્ઝામ્પલ આપીશ. ઘણા બધા વર્ષ પહેલાં જ્યારે આ મુહર્રમની મજલિસ પડતી હતી તો લેડીઝના મેમ્બર ઉપર બેસતી હતી. લેડીઝના મેમ્બર બેસતી. મારી મમ્મી કે બધાની પ્લેટ ફૂલ છે, મને લૂપસ છે. લૂપસનું મતલબ કે જ્યારે ફ્લેર થાય તો પગ ના હાલે, હાથ ના હાલે, જે બી થાય. તમે ગૂગલ કરશો તો તમે વાંચશો. મને યાદ છે ત્યારે મજલિસ પડવાની હતી તો આ મેમ્બરમાં સાઇઝ નહોતા. જ્યારે મજલિસ પતાવતી હતી ત્યારે ખબર નથી પડતી ઉતરું કેવી રીતના, કોણ છે કે ઉતરશે. તો એક હતી શમી મમદાની, તમે એને જાણો છો, જે હાથ પકડીને ઉચારતી હતી. પણ એક ફેરે ખાલી હું મુમતાઝને કીધી હું આ પાછળ બેઠી છે. હું એને કીધી મને નથી સમજ પડતું હું કેવી રીતના ઉતરું. હજી તો હું ખાલી એને કીધી. બીજા દિવસ આવી તો મેમ્બરમાં સાઇઝ હતા. હજી સુધી જ્યારે અબ્બાસનું નામ આવે ત્યારે આ લોકોનું નામ યાદ આવે. કારણ કે જેમ આ લોકો તમને કીધા કે આપણે જોઈ કોઈને જરૂર છે, કાંઈ છે એને ખપે છે, એ ચાલી નથી શકતી, ઊભી નથી શકતી, જે બી હોય વોટ એવર ઇટ ઇઝ ડઝન્ટ મેટર, અમે જરાક મદદ કરે, એને કહેવાય છે અબ્બાસ. એટલે એટલું બધું અબ્બાસનું આપણે પડે છે. ઓકે, તો તો ઇમામ કહેતા હતા કે જો માઉન્ટેન જેવા હતા, એનું દિલ એટલું પોચું હતું, એટલું નાનકડું હતું. હવે હઝરત અબ્બાસના સાથે જ્યારે અબ્બાસનું નામ આવે, હું કીધી હુસૈન, પણ સાથે ઉમ્મે કુલસુમ આવે. કારણ કે કરબલાની રાતના જ્યારે હરેક બીબી એની ઔલાદને કહેતા હતા કે તું કાલે પાણી નહીં પીજે, તું જંગ કરજે, એક બીબી રોતા હતા, આ કુલસુમ એટલું રોતા હતા. તો હઝરત અબ્બાસ આગળ પાછળ ફરતા હતા. કુલસુમ પાસે જાય છે ને કહે છે કે આટલું બધું રોવાનું શું પ્રોબ્લેમ છે? તો કે મારા પાસે ઔલાદ નથી, હું કેવી રીતના સૈયદા ફાતિમા ઝહરા પાસે જઈશ? હું એને શું કહીશ કે મારા પાસે ઔલાદ નથી, હું શું દીધી? આ બધી બીબીનું થિંકિંગ હતું. તો હઝરત અબ્બાસ એને કહે છે કે જ્યારે કોઈ મારું નામ સાંભળશે ને તો એને ખબર છે કે હું કુરબાની ઉમ્મે કુલસુમની. આ અબ્બાસ ફિનોમિનલ, શું પરું ને શું ના પરું. ઇમામ હુસૈન કહેતા હતા કે અબ્બાસ મારા પાસે હોય તો મને થાય મારું બેકબોન છે. જ્યારે હું રૂકુમાં જાઉં ને પરું સુબહાન રબ્બિયલ આઝીમી વ બિહમદી, એટલે હું પડી આઝમનું મતલબ બોન, હાડકું. તો એ કહેતા હતા મારું બેકબોન હુસૈન અબ્બાસ છે. જ્યારે અબ્બાસ પડે છે ત્યારે કહે છે આન કસર ઝહારી, મારી પૂઠ તૂટી ગઈ, હવે મારા પાસે કોઈ નથી. હવે તો હઝરત અબ્બાસ ઘરી ઘરી આવે છે ઇમામ હુસૈનને કહેવા કે મને જાવું છે મક્તલમાં. ઇમામ કહે છે ના, હજી વાર છે, હજી વાર છે. પછી કે જન્મથી હું મોટો થયો છું કરબલા માટે, મને જાવું છે. કે છે ના અબ્બાસ તું નહીં જા, અબ્બાસ તું ન જા. જ્યારે સકીના આવે છે હઝરત અબ્બાસ પાસે એને કહે છે કે મને પાણી થોડું ખપે છે. આ બચ્ચા બધા કહે છે અલ અતશ, અલ અતશ, થોડુંક પાણી, થોડુંક પાણી. તો હઝરત અબ્બાસ આ ખાલી મશ્ક લઈને ઇમામ હુસૈન પાસે જાય છે ને એને કહે છે બસ જંગ કરવા નહીં જાઓ. હુસૈન એને કહે છે તું તલવાર નહીં કાઢ, કે નહીં કાઢું, હું ખાલી બચ્ચા માટે પાણી લેવા જાઉં છું. પાણીનું નામ આવે છે તો હુસૈન કહે છે હા ઇરકબ બિનફસી યા અખી, તું જા પણ મારા નફ્સને લઈને જા. એક માસૂમ ઇમામ કહે છે. ઇમામ જાય છે દરિયાના તરફ. હવે આપણે આજે સાંભળ્યા બ્યુટિફુલ રેન્ડિશન કેવી રીતના સૈયદા સકીના જોઈ છે. તો હું મારા શબ્દમાં તમને કહીશ, જો મેં વિચાર કરે આ બચ્ચી તિલે ઝૈનબિયા ઉપર ઊભી છે, બચ્ચાઓને કહે છે કે હવે જરાય વ્યાધિ કરવાની નથી, કારણ કે પાણી આવશે જ. મારા ચાચાને કોઈ મોકલાવે, પાણી મોકલાવે, એ લે આવશે જ, તમે જરાય વ્યાધિ નહીં કરો, પાણી આવશે. એ જોયા રાખે છે, એ જોયા રાખે છે. એ જોઈ છે કે ફુરાત સુધી પહોંચે છે હઝરત અબ્બાસ, ફુરાત સુધી પહોંચે છે ને પાણી ભરે છે. એને ખબર પડે છે કે આને ખબર છે ફુરાત ક્યાં છે. ને કદાચ દેખાતા નહીં હોય પણ એટલું દેખાય છે કે એના ગોરા ખોબરે છે, યાને ઉકબ ખોબરે છે. જ્યારે હઝરત અબ્બાસ પાણી ઉપારે છે ને પાછા આવે છે તો એક હાથમાં યાને આલમ હોય છે, એક હાથમાં મશ્ક હોય છે. જ્યારે એક હાથ હાકમ ઇબ્ને તુફૈલ ને બીજું નૌફિલ ઇબ્ને અઝરક હાથ કાપી નાખે છે તો અલમ પડી જાય છે. પણ એટલી હિંમત હોય છે કે આ મશ્કને મોઢામાં લે છે. આપણે એક એક વસ્તુ અમે ઇમેજિન કરે ને આ બચ્ચી જોઈ રહી છે, પણ એ બી જોઈ રહી છે કે યાને આવે છે, ગોરું બાજુમાં આવે છે. કદાચ એના મગજમાં આવતું હશે કે અલમ પછાડી નાખ્યા, કારણ કે અલમ ભારે હતું. એને નથી ખબર કે મારા ચાચાને શું થયું છે. જ્યારે આ તીર મશ્કમાં જાય છે ત્યારે અબ્બાસ પાસે હોશ નથી હોતી. હવે કેવી રીતના જાઉં, યાને ફોકસ નથી જાઉં પાછું મને. હવે તો આટલી બધી તીર આવે છે, ગોરામાંથી પરી જાય છે. પણ એક વસ્તુ, જ્યારે ઉમ્મુલબનીનને મદીનામાં કહેવાય છે કે અબ્બાસ ઉપર યાને ઝુલ્મ થઈ રહ્યું હતું, કારણ કે જ્યારે એને કહેવાતું કદ કુતિલલ હુસૈન, કે કોઈ દિવસ હુસૈનને કતલ કરવામાં ના આવે, જો મારું અબ્બાસ હોય તો કહે છે ના, અબ્બાસને પહેલાં મારવામાં આવ્યું. શું થયું? તો એક વસ્તુ હુમૈદ ઇબ્ને મુસ્લિમ કહે છે, જ્યારે એને કહે છે કે એના હાથ કપાઈ ગયા હતા તો બીબી કહે છે બસ એક સવાલ હુમૈદ, મારો દીકરો નીચે કેવી રીતના ઉતર્યો ગોરામાંથી? હાથનો સહારો એના પાસે નહોતું.
જ્યારે ઇમામ હુસૈન ભાગે છે એના પાસે તો યાને કહે છે કે મારી પૂંછ તૂટી ગઈ. અબ્બાસને ખોરામાં નાખે છે ને કહે છે કે મારા સલામ તું કબૂલ કર. યા અખી યા નૂર આઈની યા શફીકી. ઇમામ હુસૈન એને કહે છે મને એક જ વસ્તુ છે, એક વસ્તુ તારાથી ખપે છે. અબ્બાસ કહે છે કાંઈ પણ. તો એ કહે છે બસ એક ફેરે તું મને ભાઈ બોલાવ, તું મને આખી જિંદગી મૌલા બોલાવ્યો છો, એક ફેરે ભાઈ બોલાવો. હઝરત અબ્બાસ એને કહે છે મને પાછું નહીં લઈ જાજો, હું શર્મિંદા છું કે સકીના મને જોશે તો કહે છે પાણી નથી. મારી માને સલામ દેજો, તમે મોકલાવો સલામ એને ને એ કહેજો કે એ માં જેના માટે તું મને જન્મ દીધી એ માં હું પૂરું કર્યું તારી જે ઈચ્છા હતી. ને જે કોઈ મારી ઝિયારત કરવા આવે, આ એ કોણ કહે છે? ઇમામને કહે છે. એ કહે છે જે કોઈ મારી ઝિયારત કરવા આવે કે કોઈ મજલિસમાં બેસે મને યાદ કરીને તો મને એક નામથી યાદ કરે, બાબુલ હવાઈજ. યાની કોઈ બી હાજત હોય અબ્બાસના વાસ્તા આપશો તો એ હાજત પૂરી થશે. પાછું તો ન લઈ ગયા એને, પણ ઘણી બધી રિવાયત છે. કદાચ નાનકડી વસ્તુ કહીશ કે જ્યારે યઝીદના કોર્ટમાં જ્યારે બધી બીબીઓ આવે છે તો એ લોકો યઝીદ એક અલમ જોઈ છે. જ્યારે એ અલમ જોઈ છે તો એ જાય છે, અલમ તો આખું ફાટી ગયું છે, અલમ યાને ફ્લેગ, પણ ફ્લેગનું જે પોલ હોય છે એમાં એટલા બધા યાને એટલી બધી એરોઝ એને આ પોલમાં ગરી ગઈ હતી, પણ એક નાનકડી જગા હતી કે જ્યાં હાથની જગા હતી. તો એ ઊભું થાય છે, બેસે છે, ઊભું થાય છે, બેસે છે ને કહે છે આ કોનું અલમ? તો એને કહેવાય છે આ અલમ અબ્બાસનું છે. તો એ કહે છે હા કદા યકુનુલ વફા, આને વફા કહેવાય છે કારણ કે અલમને મૂકતા નથી. જ્યારે એની કબર બનાવવામાં આવે છે તો સૈયદ બહરુલ ઉલૂમ આ કબર બનાવે છે. તો જે બિલ્ડર હઝરત અબ્બાસની કબર બનાવે છે તો એ કહે છે હું નાનપણથી સમય જોતો, નાનપણથી સાંભળ્યો હતો કે આ તો આવા લાંબા હતા, યાને એટલું બધું જોર હતું, એક માઉન્ટેન એક જબલ જેવા હતા. કેમ કબર બચ્ચા જેવી કબર છે, કેમ નાની છે? તો સૈયદ બહરુલ ઉલૂમ એને કહે છે વકતુહુ ઇરબન ઇરબા, એને લોકો કાપી નાખ્યા, નાના નાના કટકા કાપી. આપણે કાસિમને સાંભળે છે ને, આ બિલ્ડરને કહેવાય છે. કોણ કે છે? સૈયદ બહરુલ ઉલૂમ. આપણે અલ્લાહ પાસે દુઆ કરીએ, હઝરત અબ્બાસના વાસ્તા આપે કે ખુદાયા અમારા મરહૂમ છે ને તું મગફિરત અતા કર, એને તું આલા દરજ્જા આપ. જિંદગીમાં ઘણા બધા બચ્ચા છે સકીના જેવા, અલી અસ્કર જેવા, જેના પાસે પાણી નથી. ખુદાયા તો અમે તૌફીક આપ કે અમે એ લોકોને પાણી પહોંચાડી શકીએ, ના પહોંચાડી શકીએ તો અમે દુઆ કરે ખુદાયા કે તું એ લોકોને જે ઝુલ્મ છે એને તું નજાત આપ. આપણે એક સૂરતુલ ફાતિહા પઢે મરહૂમ ચાબીર સારિયા માટે ને મરહૂમા ઝાહિદા અબ્બાસ. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صدق الله العظيم. જ્યારે બચ્ચા સાથે બોલું ત્યારે કહું તમે જરાક નીચે જો, આંખ બંધ કરો, અલ્લાહને કહો આ સૂરતુલ ફાતિહાના વાસ્તા મેં દે છે, યાને એનું સવાબ મરહુમીનને આપે, તમારા મરહુમીનને પણ જે બીમાર છે ને શફા આપે. ઘણા બધા ફોન આવ્યો છે, પણ એક ઇન પર્ટિક્યુલર હમણાં એવું નૌશાદભાઈ દેવજી બીમાર છે, બતુલભાઈના હસબન્ડ થાય એ બીમાર છે, એના માટે દુઆ કરો. હરેક માટે શફાની દુઆ કરે. જે બીમાર છે, જેને પ્રોબ્લેમ છે, જેના ઉપર ઝૂમ થયું છે, ખુદા લોકોને નજાત આપે. તકબ્બલ મિન્ના ઇન્નકા અંતસ સમીઉલ અલીમ.